All right, let's talk about debt. You know, credit cards, student loans, car payments. If you've got it, you're definitely not alone. It can feel like this giant, overwhelming thing, right? Well, the good news is there are two battle-tested paths to get out from under it, and you can probably do it way faster than you think. So let's dive in and figure out which path is going to lead you to financial freedom.
First off, just take a look at this number, $100,000. That's the average debt for an American in their 30s. So if you're sitting there stressing about your own numbers, feeling like you're the only one, just remember this. You are in very, very good company.
And this right here is the most important thing to get into your head. Having debt doesn't make you a bad person, and it's not some kind of life sentence. Really, it's just a problem. A problem with some math and a little bit of psychology mixed in. And the best part about problems, they have solutions. And today, we're going to walk through them.
Okay, real quick, the standard but super important disclaimer. This is all for educational purposes, okay? I'm not a financial pro, so for advice that's tailored specifically to you and your situation, you should absolutely chat with a licensed professional.
All right, let's jump into our first strategy. This one is called the debt avalanche. I kind of think of it as the math plan. So if you're the kind of person who gets excited about a good spreadsheet and making things as efficient as possible, your ears should be perking up right now. The core idea of the avalanche is super simple. You go after your most expensive debt first. You find the loan or the card with the absolute highest interest rate, the APR, because that's the one that's costing you the most money every single month. It's the biggest leak in your financial boat.
And here's how you actually do it, in 4 easy steps. First, you list out all your debts, but you order them by interest rate, from highest down to lowest. Step 2, and this is critical, you have to keep making the minimum payments on everything else. Don't skip those. Then, for step 3, you take every single extra dollar you can scrape together and you throw it at that number 1 high-interest debt. Finally, once it's gone, poof, you take all the money you were paying on it and you roll it onto the next debt on your list.
So take a look at this. It's a perfect example. Your eyes might immediately go to that big $15,000 student loan, right? But with the avalanche method, you ignore the balance. The real enemy here, the thing that's doing the most damage, is that 24% interest on credit card A. That's your first target.
So what's the verdict on the avalanche? Well, the biggest pro is that it is, without a doubt, the most efficient path. The math is undeniable. You will save the most money on interest, period. The catch, though? It can be a real psychological grind. If your highest interest debt is also a really big one, it could take a long time before you get to celebrate that first victory, and that can be seriously discouraging.
So, if the avalanche can be a tough mental game, what's the alternative? Well, let's look at our second path, which is all about building a different kind of momentum. This is the debt snowball. And if the avalanche is the math plan, this is the mindset plan. It's all about playing to your psychology.
Now, with the snowball, you're going to do something that feels a little weird at first. You completely ignore the interest rates. Yep, for the purpose of picking your target, they don't matter. Instead, you're focused on one thing and one thing only: the balance. Your goal is to score the quickest win you possibly can by wiping out your smallest debt first.
The steps look pretty familiar, don't they? You list your debts, but this time you order them from the smallest balance to the largest. You keep making those minimum payments on everything, you find all your extra cash, and fire it directly at that smallest debt. And once that one's gone, you take its payment, roll it into the next one, and that's how you create the snowball of money that just gets bigger and bigger as it rolls.
Okay, let's use our same example debts again. See what's happening? Credit card A is still our first target, but this time it has nothing to do with that 24% APR. Nope, we're targeting it simply because its $3,000 balance is the smallest. This method is all about engineering a quick, motivating win to get you fired up.
The real power of the snowball is all in your head, in a good way. I mean, knocking out that first debt, no matter how small it is, just feels amazing. It builds momentum. It makes you feel like you can actually do this. And get this, research from Harvard actually found that people who use this method are more likely to stick with it and pay off all their debt. So what's the trade-off? You guessed it, you will pay more in total interest than you would with the avalanche.
So there we have it, the math plan and the mindset plan. The most efficient path versus the most encouraging path. Which brings us to the biggest question of all, right? Which one should you pick?
This breaks it down pretty clearly. You've got to be honest with yourself here. Are you a person who is totally driven by numbers and saving every last dollar? Go with the avalanche. Or have you tried to pay off debt before only to lose motivation and give up?
Do you need those quick wins to stay in the fight? Then the Snowball is probably the plan for you. There is no one-size-fits-all answer, only the right answer for your personality.
And if you remember only one thing from this whole explainer, let it be this. The best debt payoff plan is the one you actually stick to. Seriously, a mathematically perfect plan that you quit after 3 months is completely worthless. A slightly less perfect plan that you see all the way through to the end, that's the one that wins. Consistency is everything.
You know, one of the most powerful things you can do is to make this whole goal feel real. Hop online, find a debt-free calculator, and plug in your numbers. When you see a specific date on the screen, like August 2027, it suddenly transforms this vague dream into a tangible finish line, something you can actually work towards.
Okay, so you've picked your path. You've got your debt-free date in your sights. But what if you want to put the pedal to the metal? How do you get there even faster? Let's talk about a few ways you can supercharge this whole process.
Here are 4 power moves. First, you can do a balance transfer. Move that high-interest debt to a new card with a 0% introductory rate. That pauses the interest and lets you attack the principal. Second, consolidate your debts into a single personal loan, hopefully with a lower rate. Third, and don't sleep on this one, just call your credit card company and ask for a lower rate. It works more often than you think. And finally, find more money. Sell stuff, start a side hustle, cut back on spending for a while, anything to get more cash to throw at your debt.
So, the choice is yours. Are you going with the cold, hard, logical efficiency of the Avalanche, or the powerful, motivational momentum of the Snowball? There really is no wrong answer here. The only bad move is to not make a move at all. The most important step is to just pick one, make a plan, and get started. So, which team are you on?